Hi friends, Chad Hauer here, team leader for the Hauer home team at Keller Williams, and I wanted to give you a South Sound market update specifically focused around kind of the Pierce County area that's really reflecting similar things for all the surrounding counties around us: King County, Mason County, Kitsap County, Thurston County. So we're going to dive in and give you the most current information that we have. So here is your April update. Let me share my screen with you here real quick. So we're seeing all sorts of, in the media, you're probably hearing all sorts of things, positive news, negative news, with the Silicon Valley Bank shutting down. What's going on with that? How does that affect everything? And I can tell you, we're going to look at the actual data of what's happening here local within the real estate market. And I'm going to show you some trends as well, so we can take a deep dive into this. So starting out, we can see the median sale price that for wrapping up last month of March, Pierce County's median sale price for a home is just under $511,000. So that represents, when we compare it to March of 2022, that's a 7% decrease in values. And if we look at here, this is a 5-year history that we're looking at here. This represents the high point. May of 2022 was when we really peaked locally. And you can see we saw the very quick increase in interest rates, and we saw the effect that had on the market, really bringing prices down. And then we bottomed out here in December. So when we look at the peak of May to the bottom out of December, that represents a 12% decrease. And since then, we've been kind of stabilizing and leveling off here, it appears. So I think it's interesting to see that, as far as what I'm experiencing personally and what we've been seeing within our team here, lots of bidding wars are taking place. So we saw kind of from October through, a little bit of January, it was just kind of the brakes were put on. The market came to a crashing halt. Not a whole lot of activity taking place in general, as people were just kind of adjusting to what just happened with interest rates increasing as quickly as they did from being record lows. And now we're seeing, okay, it seems like people have sort of adjusted to it. They're recognizing, okay, this is kind of our new normal. And we're seeing a lot of multiple offers because we're still dealing with the same issue of a shortage of supply of homes. So we're going to dive into that in more detail here too. So we can see the median list price to sale price has been 100%. So on average, they're selling for their list price. Now, keep in mind, this is the last list price. So they're not always selling for their starting price. So sometimes sellers are pricing their house still thinking that, it was from that May of 2022 pricing, if you will. And we're seeing there has been a drop in there. For the homes that are actually priced appropriately though, they're selling at 100% of list price on average here locally. So again, this is a 5-year history. You can see here through COVID was when we saw it really go pretty wild with homes selling for 2.5% and above the listing price. Days on market, we've seen that has come down in the last month. So we're at a whopping 17 days on market right now. So it's still a very fast market. Typically you would expect about a 30-day time frame before an offer would come in. Right now it's dropped down to 17. We were previously seeing, during the kind of COVID craziness, we were seeing about 5 to 7 days on the market. So a little bit longer days on market for buyers right now. Not a whole lot though. We were getting up there past the 30-day mark in the recent months, and now we're kind of seeing the spring buying season has been starting early. If we look at the number of pending sales, we've seen that there's 1,133 pendings that took place in March. So that actually, again, this is a 5-year history that we're looking at here. The sales are down, the number of pending sales. So that's when a buyer and a seller get into a contract together, but haven't actually officially closed the sale. But they've made an agreement that they're gonna buy and sell together. So that is down 24% since the same time last year. And if you look at this is really interesting. The number of homes for sale is up 76% compared to the same time last year. So you can see, you know, around this time last year, really, really low inventory. So inventory has increased by 76%. So that's great news that there's more options. And yet in the grand scheme of things, there's still not nearly enough options and inventory available on the market. You can see, you know, even being up 76%, compare that to the last 5 years, we had way more inventory in prior periods during the last 5 years. So the number of homes sold is down 25%. If you look at that. And now talking about the impact of inventory on home prices. So this is a little chart that gives you an idea of how it all typically plays out. If we see typically less than 6 months worth of homes on the market, that represents a seller's market, and we typically see home values are on the rise. If they're right around that 6 to 7 month period, it just kind of is a neutral market balanced between favoring buyers and sellers, and it just kind of goes along with inflation. And then if there's more than 7 months worth of homes on the market, that represents a buyer's market, and we see values declining. So let's take a look at where we're at. If you have any guesses where we're at in Pierce County. Inventory has gone down in the last month. So we are down to 1 month supply. So this is really, really low inventory, guys. When you think, okay, a balanced market is 6 months of inventory. And let me explain what that means. That doesn't mean it takes this down to 1 month of inventory. That doesn't mean it's going to take 1 month for your home to sell, for example. What this means that if no more homes were to come on the market from this point forward, if at the rate that homes are currently selling, it would take only 1 month for all of the homes in all of Pierce County to be sold out, and there to be nothing available anymore. So this really does represent very much so a seller favored market there. This kind of shows kind of why are we seeing such a shortage. It's so much of this is coming up down to supply and demand. And you know, even though prices have gone up, interest rates have gone up over time, we're not seeing that big of a hit. And it's because the lack of supply is kind of helping support the market. I think that's what keeps it from being able to just completely fall out, is because ultimately people still need homes and still want a place to go. So we can see here, this is each of these different organizations did their own studies and determined how many homes short are we when it comes to new construction builds that haven't been taking place that we wish would have, to be able to give us a better amount of inventory. So you can see it's in the multiple millions of homes nationwide short. So that's where that really comes into play. Showing you a little bit more on that to give you some context here. This gray line here, dotted line, this represents the average annual units completed, new homes built. And you can see here, this is going all the way back to 1970. Well, right in here, this was kind of right around where the bubble popped with the whole economy, right around 2007, 2008. And we saw, oh wow, a major drop in the amount of construction, new homes being built and brought to the marketplace. So we had 14 straight years below that average line. And so with that, we're now seeing the repercussions of, okay, we just don't have enough houses nationally and locally to supply for the demand that is out there. So overall, kind of the estimation on where things are going to be moving forward is 2023 is going to be kind of a rough year. People are projecting negative values. Well, we already saw it locally. Like I said, from the peak to the end, we saw about a 15% decline in values. Projections moving forward is that we'll most likely see positive appreciation proceeding forward. Now, if we look at median asking rent, this, if you aren't already a homeowner, I think this is really important. Regardless of what the interest rate is, keep in mind, if you are paying rent, that is one of the likely single largest expenses you have each month is your housing expense. And if you're looking at it from this standpoint and saying, okay, since 1988, what direction have rents gone? Well, they've only gone up. If you factor that in and say, okay, how can I secure this and lock in so it stops going up on me so I can actually gain control of my financial situation here? Buying a home is always going to have value to it, even if it does seem expensive in the moment, even if interest rates are around 6%, and that seems way higher than the 2 or 3% crazy low rates we were able to get in the not so distant past. Keep in mind, if you're paying rent, you're paying 100% interest. That's another way to look at it. And you're not securing the payment for the next 15, 20, 30 years, depending on the loan you go with. So just some food for thought there. Keep in mind, headlines tend to terrify more than they do clarify. So know that they're there to sell. They're there to terrify because that's what makes them money when they're clickbait. And I just want to remind you, we are here to be a resource to you. Really, it depends on what are your specific goals. I can tell you, I'm personally buying in this market, and I'm personally also selling in this market. And so it really boils down to, what are your goals? What are you looking to achieve? And let's sit down and strategize, come up with a good plan for you and your family, and go from there. So feel free to reach out to any of us here at the Hauer Home Team, and we've got some great lender connections. I always say it's always a good time to plan to buy a home. So that may not be for this month, it may not be for this summer, may not be for next year. It's good to start the plan, get yourself educated, become informed, be able to take little baby steps to get there. So we invite you to reach out anytime. Please don't keep us a secret. If you have friends or family that would appreciate our services, that's what we're here for. And we hope you have a great day. Thanks so much. Take care.